What's up, guys? First of all, good morning. My name is Mark from My Primal Being. As some of you may already know, I apologize for this little thing. It's just kind of in the way. It's in the back on the stairs. I just wanted to get out here and shoot a video really quick before all of this passed my mind. And I didn't want to formalize it too much because I've tried to work on a couple of video segments in the past and try to commit myself to something, and I realized I work a lot better just very impromptu and kind of spontaneous. So here we go. Even then, I couldn't be bothered to just do this on my phone. I had to grab my GoPro and set it up really quick, but I think this should be a pretty easy setup. That way I can at least deliver some degree of quality to you guys. That's better than a potato. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about was the idea of emotional attunement. And the reason why this is important to me is because last night I just realized, after some time with the last 2.5 to 3 weeks, that I haven't really been paying attention to what my body and my emotions have been telling me. And this isn't to say that I was trying to be a hippie or anything. I get a couple of my friends saying that I sometimes sound like a hippie because I can get really out there. And sure, getting into the esoteric and sort of ephemeral sphere can seem like you're getting a little bit too woo-woo and get lost and lose objectivity in that respect. But the only reason why I ever try and develop a sort of emotional, mental, spiritual attunement is to understand just what it is that my body is trying to tell me. I'm actually trying to be objective about it, and the best way that I can go about it is to try and see just what my particular emotions are telling me. And the way that I can do that is I have to read and learn, and I have to have experiences that excuse me, sorry about that. Like I said, this is just really impromptu, and as you can see, I'm back in the backyard, staying with my parents right now. My girlfriend is back in Florida, and my mom was coming in from her late night shift, and so I had to open the gate. Anyways, I can already feel like this is going to get kind of long, but I'm going to try to narrow it down and get a little more specific. So what it does for me is, just like a high-level performing athlete would become aware of all the things in their body that are sort of their deficiencies, their shortcomings, and they look for ways to shore up those deficiencies, or to at least find someone who succeeded with sort of the similar circumstances that they have. Like, take for example, I'm 5'9", 165 pounds, and eventually my lifetime PR that I am striving for is a 500-pound front squat. Now, in order to achieve that, I can say, well, you know what, looking at the competitive powerlifting world, it's really hard to see any 5'9", 165-pound guys who are squatting that much weight. And then ever so slowly you start to discover that there are guys who are like that. I just recently discovered that I think it's Garrett from Mathetics that has that ability, and he has a huge, I think like 700-pound deadlift, and so that gives me a sense of, okay, what is he doing? What do I need to do to get there? And so in that respect, physically, morphologically, as far as looking at our anatomy, I can say, well, does Garrett have the same arm length that I do? Does Garrett have the same leg length, leg to torso ratio that I do? What can I do to tweak things? What accessories can I do to build on top of my weaknesses, so that I can get 700-pound deadlifts or 500-pound front squats? What do I need to do in order to achieve that goal? And so, in the same respect, what I've come to realize is that emotions are sort of the same thing. Is rather than sort of abstracting them so that people kind of feel like, okay, it's just my feelings, I just need to work through it or past it, which I will in time tell myself when I'm in a very sort of crummy state. What seems to help sometimes is just this notion. So my mom's walking past right now, so I apologize for the sound. But anyways, so what I tend to do, and I think what most people tend to do, is keep calm and carry on. And I think that was from Winston Churchill during World War II, to sort of comfort the English people as they were getting bombed and all that stuff. But what I've tended to do is, I think Winston Churchill was also famous for saying something like, the best way out of hell is just through it. And it wasn't until I recognized last night my my affinity for that saying and how I appreciate that saying, that I was able to kind of push through my little slump the past 2 weeks. And I did get a little bit of counseling. I talked to my girlfriend and came to realize that, yeah, I am kind of anxious right now. I've been caffeinating a lot, which tells me that I'm pushing it really hard to try and accomplish the things that are sort of around me. I got a lot of chaos going on in my room, so it doesn't help. It only builds and adds onto my anxiety, because it feels like things are out of place. And I've also been eating a lot more sugar, so that tends to be my thing. I'm not falling off the gluten train necessarily. I'm still relatively paleo. Just my intake of refined sugars and carbs, ice cream, gluten-free treats and stuff like that does increase as I tend to get more and more stressed out. And so that's why I think it's important that, rather than trying to be a man about everything, it's actually very critical to try and understand what your unique emotions happen to be telling you, so that you can kind of push past them in a more productive way. Because sometimes just glazing over everything and taking sort of a general approach of saying, I'm just going to power through this, isn't going to be enough to actually come to grips with what it is that's bothering you. And you can, in turn, increase the stress in your life because you're being an ass to the people around you. You're being mean, you're being unappreciative, you're being kind of rude, and it only builds on top of the stress that's laying on top of you. And actually, for some time, I've been feeling more and more isolated the more I get deep into this. And so I have to stop myself and say, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to be vulnerable, especially to my girlfriend last night. And so I just outright told her that I was feeling isolated. And so that made me feel like there was this weight on off of my shoulders and off my chest. And it made me recognize, holy crap, like, this is why I've been caffeinating. This is why I've been trying to eat my emotions by eating more sugars and carbs and stuff like that. And I haven't really been paying attention to my workouts. And I recognize my buddy Skylar posted something on Instagram and said, we're officially 4 weeks out from competition. And I'm like, holy crap, I've just been slacking. And so the most important takeaway from this is that, rather than abstracting your emotions and saying that they're useless, try to understand that your emotions are actually part of your instincts, and they're trying to tell you what you need to adjust and address in order for you to move forward and progress in your life. So pay attention to that. I'm not going to call this any particular segment. This is just me kind of yammering on like usual for the last few minutes. Thank you very much for listening. If you guys like this stuff, let me know. Leave a comment, like it, share it if you so feel. But give me any feedback. Let me know. I just want to start a conversation. And I think that's most important, and I think it actually helps to allow you to share how you're feeling and your own sort of circumstances, and it allows us to relate to one another, and hopefully we can all work towards a better, brighter future, whatever that means, because I genuinely believe that a rising tide, how does the saying go, rising tide raises all ships, or something like that. And so let's try and do that for one another. Anyways, thank you very much. This is Mark from My Primal Being. I'll see you guys later. Peace.